ultimately unsatisfied because you have no explanation for the designer. So before Darwin came along, I think it would have been reasonable to say, I can see that the argument from design is a bad argument. I can see that it doesn't work. I can see that it does not present any evidence for a God, for a supernatural intelligence, but I'm damned if I can see any alternative. And it was Darwin who came along and gave us the alternative. So I think the answer to the question is if you're really sophisticated, yes, you could be an atheist without science, but it's pretty difficult. Nowadays, now we've got science, it's very, very easy indeed.
Let's move away from the realm of religion, but to the broader topic of reason in human affairs. This person participated in an enrichment program at the Yale University School of Medicine and had the opportunity to ask a panel of medical school representatives how to combat the tendency in our society to embrace various kinds of medical treatments based upon pseudoscience or alternative non-evidence-based strategies. And the question, I think, is pretty interesting because they suggest in a world in which we are deluged by information, how can a doctor, or let alone an individual citizen, sort through and decide what the right thing to do is?
Yes, and I don't want to come across as dogmatically opposed to everything that's sometimes called alternative medicine. My view there is that if a school of treatment, a school of thought in medicine, in healing, can be demonstrated to work, then it ceases to be alternative, it simply becomes medicine. And so it would be open to anybody to demonstrate by proper double-blind trials, statistically analyzed, that, for example, homeopathy works. And in that case, homeopathy would cease to be regarded as an alternative form of medicine, as a pseudoscience. It would be regarded as scientific medicine, because it would be, in the phrase you just used, evidence-based. Now, if you actually start to think about how you would do a double-blind controlled trial of a homeopathic remedy, it actually is quite difficult, because the thing about homeopathy is that you dilute the active ingredient, the putative active ingredient, and you dilute it, and you dilute it, and you dilute it. And according to homeopathic theory, the more you dilute it, the more powerful it becomes. And some of the more extreme dilutions which homeopaths advocate, you dilute and then you dilute again, dilute again, dilute again. You calculate how much of a volume of water you would need in order to be sure of getting one molecule of the active ingredient. And it may be the entire volume of the solar system. In other words, homeopathic remedies have not a single molecule of the active ingredient in them. Well, now imagine setting up a double-blind controlled trial. You have one bottle of experimental substance and one bottle of controlled substance. And how many molecules of the active ingredient? Well, the control obviously has none. That's the point about the control. The experimental has none. So if you were to get a significant difference in your double-blind trial, it would be very curious indeed. It might happen. It might happen. Do it. By all means, do it. If it did happen, then you would have discovered a brand new principle of physical science, a new law of the universe that nobody has discovered before. You would be eligible for the Nobel Prize not just in medicine, but in physics and chemistry as well. Which is why homeopaths spend all their time beavering away doing double-blind controlled trials, except that they don't. They spend all their time prescribing homeopathic remedies to patients who then get better because they were going to get better anyway, or because of the placebo effect, which is well known to be extremely powerful. Now, one of the things that I've noticed whenever I feel ill is that I go to the doctor's office, and by the time I actually see the doctor and listen to a few soothing words from this intelligent voice with an intelligent face atop a stethoscope and a white coat. I'm better. I mean, just the reassurance makes me feel better. The trouble is that that real doctors, if you forgive the phrase, don't have time to spend with the patient. They have to get them through. Whereas alternative medical practitioners have the time. You're paying them, and they have the time to devote to you as an individual, to listen to your woes, to cheer you up, to be nice to you, to smile at you. I think that's probably very effective. And so, but it doesn't mean that the actual homeopathic substance is effective. Not at all. I think we need to do double-blind trials. We need to educate people into the power of a double-blind, statistically analyzed trial to determine just how powerful things are. But we also need to remember that there's more to doctoring than just giving drugs and operations, that there's a human factor. And if only conventional doctors had more time, they could probably outperform homeopaths even in that department. In the particular case of homeopathy, it actually goes back quite a long way, and it goes back to the time when what ordinary doctors mostly did was kill you by bleeding you or whatever. So, since homeopathic medicine did absolutely nothing at all, that was at least better.